Lewis Hamilton's first year at Ferrari didn't just disappoint, it triggered a full-blown crisis behind closed doors. Millions spent, zero podiums, and now top Ferrari board members are demanding answers and considering radical changes for 2026. Wait until you hear what Hamilton said that made Ferrari executives question everything, and why some insiders think this could be his final season. If you love F1 drama, behind-the-scenes tension, and want the real story before it hits the headlines, smash that like button and hit subscribe now. From the moment Lewis Hamilton walked into the Ferrari garage, expectations were sky high. This was the most successful driver in Formula One history, joining the most historic team in sport. On paper, it was perfect. But what played out across the 2025 season was a brutal reality check one that has left the team fractured and the board disillusioned. The cold numbers are damning. No podiums, no poles, and a growing performance gap to Charles Leclerc that Ferrari's top brass can no longer ignore. Inside Maranello, boardroom meetings have grown more tense with each passing race. Senior figures expected Hamilton to bring leadership, clarity, and consistent results. Instead, the season has been defined by confusion, poor qualifying, and inconsistent race pace. Multiple sources close to Ferrari confirm that the mood inside headquarters has shifted. Optimism has been replaced by pressure, and behind the scenes, the word mistake is now being quietly associated with Hamilton's recruitment. Executives are frustrated not only by the lack of points, but by the nature of the performances. In key races like Monaco, Silverstone, and Monza, where Hamilton was expected to shine, he was virtually invisible. In Italy especially, where Ferrari's results are a matter of national pride, his underperformance has become a headline in itself. The team's technical staff had hoped Hamilton would unlock a new layer of performance. Instead, they're questioning whether he even understands the car's balance window. One of the key criticisms coming from upper management is Hamilton's inability to provide clear technical direction. At Mercedes, he thrived within a system that was built around him. But Ferrari's 2025 car, while quick in Leclerc's hands, appears fundamentally incompatible with Hamilton's driving style. His inputs have been described as vague, and engineers are reportedly struggling to convert his feedback into measurable gains. The result? Development stalls, strategy conflict, and growing doubts about his long-term value. Behind closed doors, there's increasing tension between the board and team principal Fred Vasseur. Vasseur was the architect of the Hamilton deal. His credibility is now being questioned. Sources suggest that top board members, including John Elkann and Benedetto Vigna, are demanding accountability. The original plan was for Hamilton to help guide Ferrari into the new 2026 regulations with leadership and vision. But with development direction now splitting between drivers, the team is more fragmented than ever. This breakdown has wider implications than just Hamilton's performance. Sponsors, many of whom signed on expecting a wave of Hamilton-driven marketing power, are reportedly growing anxious. The team's failure to capitalize on Hamilton's global appeal combined with lackluster results has started to raise concerns even outside of racing circles. Ferrari's global image was meant to soar with this partnership. Instead, it's now in damage control mode. And while no public statements have been made, the message from within Ferrari is clear. This isn't what they signed up for. The board expected a revival of the Schumacher era. What they got is something much closer to the Alonso years: high profile, high pressure, and far too few trophies. As winter testing for 2026 looms, Ferrari's leadership is asking the one question no one dared to ask a year ago. Did they make the wrong bet? As Hamilton's performances slipped throughout the season, something unexpected began to happen inside the Ferrari garage. Charles Leclerc quietly reclaimed control. The Monegasque, often seen as the emotional heartbeat of Ferrari since 2019, began outperforming Hamilton not only on track, but also in influence. At the start of the season, Leclerc was expected to share leadership duties. By the final races, it was clear he had become Ferrari's true team leader once again. The engineering team started leaning more heavily on Leclerc's feedback. Not only was he consistently faster in qualifying, but his comments during debriefs aligned far better with what the data showed. While Hamilton voiced frustrations over balance and grip without pinpointing solutions, Leclerc provided detailed, actionable input. In technical meetings, that made all the difference. Ferrari began shifting more simulation hours and aerodynamic development around Leclerc's driving style, a quiet but decisive pivot away from Hamilton's vision. This dynamic reshuffle was never formally announced, but was obvious to everyone inside the team. Leclerc began leading track walks, reviewing simulator data ahead of Hamilton, and coordinating more closely with Ferrari's development team in Maranello. His comfort within the team, built over years of trust, contrasted starkly with Hamilton's struggle to adapt. And in a sport where unity is often worth tenths per lap, Ferrari naturally gravitated toward the more stable voice. The change also had cultural roots. Ferrari has always thrived with drivers who embrace the team emotionally. Think Schumacher, Alonso, even Vettel. Leclerc speaks Italian, understands the media landscape, and has grown with the Scuderia. Hamilton, on the other hand, remains somewhat distant. His approach, more corporate and guarded, didn't resonate with Ferrari's traditional way of operating. This disconnect only deepened as the season wore on, and results failed to improve. By mid-season, sources inside the team confirmed that Hamilton's influence over car development had significantly decreased. In the early races, engineers attempted to create a hybrid setup philosophy that could serve both drivers. But after repeated failures to generate progress, the focus narrowed around Leclerc. With the 2026 regulation overhaul on the horizon, including the arrival of active aerodynamics and a new hybrid power unit, Ferrari decided it could not afford a divided approach. For Hamilton, this was unfamiliar territory. At Mercedes, he was the focal point. At Ferrari, he found himself in a supporting role, a position he neither expected nor welcomed. His body language in the paddock changed. He stopped doing joint press with Leclerc. In post-race interviews, his tone grew colder, more distant. By season's end, the image was unmistakable. Ferrari was now Leclerc's team, not Hamilton's. This transition has profound implications for Ferrari's 2026 project. With Hamilton sidelined from key development decisions, Ferrari's next-generation car will be tailored to Leclerc's preferences. That could further widen the performance gap. Unless Hamilton adapts quickly or delivers standout results early next season, he risks becoming a passenger in a project that was once supposed to be built around him. The boardroom may be frustrated, but inside the garage, the message is even clearer. Ferrari is backing the driver delivering results. Lewis Hamilton came to Ferrari with one goal: to make history. An 8th world title in red would have sealed his legacy with poetic perfection. But as the curtain fell on his first season, the reality could not be further from that dream. With no wins, no podiums, and mounting criticism, the question now isn't just whether Hamilton can win again, it's whether he belongs in the sport beyond 2026. For the first time in his career, retirement is a real and visible shadow. Contractually, Hamilton is locked in with Ferrari through the end of 2026. But in Formula One, paper contracts mean little when performance vanishes. Sources close to Ferrari's executive board have revealed there are performance-related clauses that could be activated if certain internal benchmarks are not met. These aren't public terms, but insiders suggest that Ferrari reserved the right to protect itself in case the Hamilton experiment failed. And after 2025, they're reviewing every option. Meanwhile, the pressure from above is intensifying. Ferrari's leadership, particularly Chairman John Elkann, has made it clear that the team's trajectory cannot stall in a year where regulation changes represent a golden reset. Elkann and CEO Benedetto Vigna expected Hamilton to spearhead this next phase, not destabilize it. They see 2026 as a make-or-break season, not just for championships, but for the structure of the team itself. Hamilton must now prove he can still be the centerpiece of a top team. If not, the board will move swiftly. And what about Hamilton himself? His demeanor has shifted. While still professional, the confidence has wavered. In post-race media sessions, gone are the affirmations of dominance. Instead, there are moments of reflection and sometimes resignation. At several points this year, he openly questioned whether he was holding the team back. In Mexico, he admitted, "This is not how I imagined things going." In Abu Dhabi, his tone was even darker. "Sometimes I wonder if this is still where I'm meant to be." His legacy complicates everything. No team wants to be remembered as the one that pushed Hamilton out. But Ferrari also knows that F1 is ruthless. Legacy doesn't win constructors' points. If 2026 begins with more underperformance, Ferrari will have to choose sentiment or results. And history tells us how Ferrari makes decisions. From Raikkonen to Vettel, even icons are moved aside when the team senses its momentum is at risk. Hamilton is not immune to that reality. What makes the situation even more complex is the lack of clarity from Hamilton's own side. His team has not signaled any future commitments beyond 2026. No comments about long-term plans. No clear roadmap beyond this contract. It's left observers wondering if Hamilton himself sees this as a final test, one last shot at glory before walking away. His brand is global. His interests beyond F1 are growing. If the fire inside starts to dim, he may choose to leave on his own terms. But if he stays and underdelivers, the damage to his reputation could be irreversible. The danger isn't just losing races. It's rewriting the narrative of a career. Ferrari gave Hamilton the platform to close his story with brilliance. Now that platform is wobbling beneath him. And unless something changes fast, the final chapter could be written by someone else.